Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the new Mercedes-Benz C300. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder that goes through a 9-speed automatic transmission. Fuel economy is 24 around town and then 33 on the highway, with power outputs being 255 horsepower and then 295 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we go over the front end, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, there's like a simplistic elegance to it that I really like. You just have a few distinctive lines and it just has a really nice appearance overall. And I think that theme continues with the front end. I mean, look at the daytime running lights with the headlights. You've got the grille with a bunch of Mercedes-Benz logos inside of the grille, which is really cool. And then we do have some parking sensors on the front end. And when you put it all together, it really does look like a baby S-Class, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, coming on the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 225, 40, 19 in the front, and then 255, 35, 19 in the rear. And when you look at the wheel design, you guys can see the silver there on the top. Notice they've got some blacked out portions as well. These are the AMG style wheels, even though it's just a C300. And then you got the silver brake caliper as well. Pretty nice design there with the fender. Notice stuff like the mirror caps, and then most of the roof's actually blacked out too. But then you do have some chrome there on, or silver rather, on the door handles. And then here's the full side profile of the C-Class, and again, it really does look like a baby S-Class. Now, taking a look at the key fob, we have our unlock function, we've got our lock function, the opening here for the trunk, and then nothing really there on the back, so we'll pop that open. Now, the cargo area with the C300 is quite spacious, and you've got these little buttons here on the side to lower down the seats, which also obviously would add to the practicality. But that's one of the things I really like about this car is it's practical. And I do think this is a pretty cool luxury feature. You can lower down the trunk. Notice the design here on the back's clean. A lot of competitors will have like spoilers or stuff on the back end, but nothing here. And then again, same thing with the taillights, more simplistic with the design. And then you can see parking sensors are at the bottom, then the covers over the exhaust tips. And putting it all together, let me know your thoughts on the design here with the new C-Class, but I think that Mercedes did a really good job. Now, taking a look at the door panel, it's actually soft touch here at the top and then also down below, and I like the two-tone. I think that's pretty cool. And then look at stuff like the door handle and then the door lock and unlock, the window control, of that just has a nice finish to it. And then taking a look at the seats themselves, you guys can see perforated all down the center portion, again, two-tone. And sitting in the back here, it's actually quite spacious. We also have a little storage cubby there. We've got some vents here in the back as well. And would you look at this? We got our whole armrest section. And then last but not least, headroom's good. Oh, this is actually last but not least, we also have a sunroof in the back. Now, taking a look at the door panel in the front, same design with the two-tone trim, and then again, all the nice finishes on the controls. The only other automaker in this segment that really competes with Mercedes on this stuff is Genesis now, and they kind of copied Mercedes on a lot of stuff. Anyways, we got all of our seat adjustments, memory seat function. You do have heated seats, no cooled seats. We do have blind spot monitoring with the mirrors as well. And then here's the front seat again. You can see two-tone with the design. And then I think the pedals look pretty premium. And then even like stuff like the parking brake looks nice. You got the light control that also looks nice. And I love this design. Now, taking a look at the steering wheel, you guys can see that you've got soft touch here at the top and at the bottom. You've got like golf ball texture here on the sides and get a better grip. Paddle shifters on the back, and you guys can see you've got controls here for the center stack. You've got like your volume voice command controls, adaptive cruise control, some controls there for that screen as well. And then you got your stocks here in the back, and they also kind of have a premium feel to them. Now, taking a look at the gauge cluster, this is Mercedes' new unit, and I'm a big fan of it. As you guys know, you can kind of change the style. I think Classic makes the most sense with the C300, but you can also make it be a navigation screen if you want, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool how customizable this is and how much information you can see. It is a little bit overwhelming at first, but once you get used to it, you get used to it. Now, this does have a 360 camera system. You guys can see trajectory lines turn at the steering wheel with the backup camera. You got that bird's eye view. But yeah, really good camera system overall. It doesn't really need the 360 system. It's not a huge car, but it is a nice feature to have. Now, as for the rest of the infotainment system, you've got some shortcut stuff here at the bottom on the screen for stuff like the climate controls, for example, and then also the drive mode select. You got that for vehicle stuff, and you guys can see like the volume controls and all that. And then you kind of have this main tab where you can go into different menus here with the car. So, I mean, for example, you can go to the comfort tab and do all the stuff with the seats. You got seat kinetics, all of that. And when it comes to the drive modes, you guys can see pretty simple. You've got Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and then an individual mode. I frankly have just been driving it in Comfort mode. Now I think this is a really clean center console design, just with how they've done the coverings and everything. And I like the trim on the top too. But we have like a wireless phone charging pad inside. You got some cup holder action. And then you can see this opens up either way. Got some nice padding on it, which I do like the texturing on this. And then you guys can see, yeah, this trim continues all along. Again, I really like the look of that. And then also the dash. Again, this has a very upscale appearance. And then you got tons of ambient lighting. You can probably kind of see it throughout there. And then just a quick look at the glove box as well. But I mean, yeah, for this like price point, really nice interior. And then up top, we got our little slider control here for the sunroof situation. So we got one up front and then one in the back. So sorry, this is not going to be the best window sticker review because it's on my phone, but C300, base MSRP is $46,850, and then as you can see, after all options on this one, $58,335. Let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's visibility of the hood, both the mirrors, do a blind spot monitoring, and throughout the rest of the rear, and let's set off. So we are setting off in the Mercedes C300, and I've actually had the chance to live with this for the last week. So I'm gonna kind of talk about what this car is actually like to live with in this review, as well as, you know, just do a generalized review that I normally do. So first off, seat comfort's really good. In this segment, this has by far the most comfortable seats. The ergonomics are great, the padding's great. So BMW, Audi, Genesis, all of them need to go and sit in some Mercedes and take some notes, because yeah, it seems like this is just across the board. Mercedes just seems to make better seats than everyone else in the segments that they compete, and just kind of one of those interesting things. So that's really positive in my opinion. And then the next thing that's pretty good is actually the acceleration. So, I mean, this is, again, ultimately a base model C-Class. It's not the fastest car on the planet, but I mean, it gets up and moves at a pretty decent pace for what it is. I will say sometimes on the highway, I do get a little bit of frustration with the power on this car, but it's not bad. Now, the next thing is the ride quality. Just like most German cars, super stable at high speeds, but also, you know, it's so comfortable. Again, this is where this is the best in class, has the best ride quality by far when you compare it to everything else in the segment. But you do concede like sporty driving dynamics and handling. Like this, it handles well, but I have like no desire to drive this car in a sporty fashion. Like, that's just not what this car's about. This is definitely even though I'm accelerating, this is definitely more about like comfort, and it's just like a cruiser. That's a good way to look at it. And it really does fulfill like the baby S-Class, you know, thing that this is kind of going after. And then I really like stuff like this. Like, I know this is kind of random, but it's super easy to use all of the storage in here, and I just like how clean it looks. It's just a weird thing, but like when you have a car that just has like such a clean design here, it just, everything feels less cluttered, and I like that. I appreciate that. And you know, daily driving this, it's great. It gets good gas mileage. On a full tank of gas, you're like almost 500 miles of range. It's like actually it's not that much, it's like mid 450s or more, mid 450s, mid 400s, like 450 something, 460 something on a full tank. So you can go for quite a bit of time without having to fill up with gas, which I think is cool. And yeah, it's just a great daily driver overall. The only thing this is missing, that I think that Mercedes, BMW, Audi need to like pull their heads out of their you-know-whats, is this needs to have air-conditioned seats. Like, I'm sick and tired of these German automakers thinking that you have to buy a $100,000 vehicle for it to be allowed to have air-conditioned seats. Like, that should be standard equipment at this point. If you can get it on a $30,000 Kia or Toyota or Honda, you should be able to, actually I don't think Honda offers that on $30,000 cars, but Kia and Toyota definitely do. If you can get it on those, then you should be able to have it as standard on a $60,000 Mercedes Benz that's all about luxury. That's my soapbox about air-conditioned seats. But yeah, overall, I think it's a great car, and this is personally my favorite car in this segment, just because of how well-rounded I think it is. This segment, in my opinion, is not about like sporty driving, because all these cars have 4 cylinders. So they're just not going to be inherently sporty, right? I guess you can't have a sporty driving 4-cylinder car, but they're less powerful 4 cylinders, right? So this is my favorite in this particular segment. But once you move up to like the C43 and then the, you know, BMW M340i and the Audi S4, then things, you know, kind of are not as in line with Mercedes in my opinion anymore. I think the BMW is the best in that segment. But in this entry level segment, if I was comparing between a base G70, you know, again, Audi A4, BMW 330i, and this, I would pick the C-Class. Let me know your thoughts.